Hey, Lashpreneurs. On today's episode, I'm going to go on a bit of a rant that I really want you to think through. Because, girlfriend, it is the most common way lash artists price their services. And also, we don't do common here on the Lessons of a Lashpreneur show. So that's why I'm going to kind of debunk what is often suggested in these Facebook groups as far as how to price your services, because I'm going to share with you the one and only reason why you should not be pricing your services by time. And I would love to hear just how eye-opening this episode is for you once you've listened through it all. Hit me up on social media after you've listened to the episode and let me know why you agree or why you disagree with what I'm going to share today. Keep in mind, these episodes are just my opinion. I look at a lot of factors when I share my opinions on business, but I'm certainly not the only opinion that you need to follow. I mean, I'd like to be, but I get it. Do you, boo? But know that my goal is to help you grow your business the way that you want to. And a part of that is opening you up to unlimited growth and potential and not handicapping your income, which to me is what charging by time does to your business and your ability to grow. So let's dive into today's episode. So initially I saw this video on YouTube years ago. In fact, it was still while I was a lash artist, looking at how I priced my services and how to establish what I charged for fills and price points. And because this was before I had a Lashpreneur business where I figured out how you look at expenses and manage your price point based on profitability. So I'm looking around going like, well, how do I charge appropriately for my services? And I came across this video of a guy named Chris Do, D-O, and he was talking specifically about graphic design services, but the message was applicable to any service-based industry. And it really hit home with me because he talks about charging by the hour diminishes you from being good. I highly recommend you go watch that video. I'm going to share kind of the highlights of what he talks about today, but the way he explains it is top notch. Like really, he has a back and forth with somebody who is saying, well, it's less valuable, more valuable, whatever. It's so good. I'm not even going to like try and ruin it for you. Just go check out Chris Do on YouTube. It's so good. So here's why I want you to stop charging by time for your services and what you should be doing instead. The problem we have with charging by the hour is, let's say right now it takes you 75 minutes to do a classic fill. So like a client came in 2 weeks ago, and to get her back to looking like a full set, it takes you 75 minutes. And let's say you charge $50 for that 75 minutes, right? And so the client is booking a 75-minute appointment. Well, what happens 4, 5, 6 months from now when you are getting better at your application and you're getting faster and you're getting isolation and application are just like, you're in the zone, you're doing it really well. Now your client's lashes may start to last longer. So maybe she can go longer between appointments. That's of high value to a client. Maybe you don't have to put in as many lashes as last time. And so all of a sudden now the client's coming back every 2 weeks, but doesn't need the full 75 minutes to do the fill service anymore. So for you to get her back to full and fluffy, maybe it takes you 55 minutes or 60 minutes because she has great retention and you've gotten faster at your skill set. But the client is paying for a 75-minute appointment. She's paying that $50 for 75 minutes. So now what do? Right? Let's say you finish the appointment at 60 minutes and you still have 15 minutes left. Do you discount your services because you didn't give her the full service, which she is expecting as 75 minutes? Or do you risk a client feeling like she got gypped because you didn't use the full 75 minutes? Or do you pretend like you're still going to lash for another 15 minutes and kind of just make up something to do with the client's lashes, kind of operating out of integrity, yes, because basically you're done doing anything of value to the service, but you still have 15 minutes to fill. So you got to figure out something to do. That's such a waste of time, right? Like that 15 minutes could be spent on getting another client in during that time, or working on your business and not in it, or you taking a break and like being able to stretch. There's no point in you continuing to sit there with a client who's already done. And you're just kind of like, guess I'll keep fluffing and maybe maybe there's a baby lash somewhere I missed, but it's really not going to make that much of a difference for the client. This is where charging by time diminishes your ability to be good, to get better, to get faster results. It caps your ability to become fantastic at what you do and be compensated accordingly. If you can get a client the same or better results in less time, does that mean you have more or less value in the eyes of the customer? Let me say that again. If you can get the client the same or better results in less time, does that have more or less value in the eyes of the customer? Let me ask you this. If you and I work together, right, and I can help you get fully booked in 3 months and it's going to cost you $3,000, we're giving you an example here, as opposed to you DIYing it and getting fully booked in a year, that you paid nothing for your education to do that, but it took you a year as opposed to paying $3,000 to get it done in 3 months. Does that have more value to you as a business owner or less value to you? Think about how much money you could be making in the extra 9 months of being fully booked as opposed to it taking a year for you to be fully booked. That's a big difference. So we like to do data here. We don't like to base things off feelings. So I'm going to walk you through, and I want you to listen to this episode as many times as you have to in order to understand this philosophy. So let's say for you, being fully booked is $5,000 a month, and you grow your business evenly from $0 to $5,000 in 3 months. Let's say $6,000 for easier math. So let's say you are fully booked, earns you $6,000 a month, and you go from having no money, and then 3 months later, you're fully booked at $6,000. Let's say on month 1, you earn $2,000. Next month, you earn another $2,000. And then the next month, you add another $2,000 to your income. So month 1, you're doing $2,000. Month 2, you're doing $4,000. And month 3, you're fully booked at $6,000 a month. Then you have the rest of the year to be fully booked at that $6,000 price point. Okay, so that's kind of the math of, if you paid money, if you invested money to get something done faster, easier, and with less of the struggle and strain that comes with trying to learn a new skill set, you're now looking at about an annual revenue of $66,000 for that year. So you pay $3,000 to invest in coaching for 3 months, but in return, you made $66,000 for that year. Again, month 1, $2,000, month 2, $4,000, month 3 through 12, you're fully booked at $6,000. So that's where that math came from. Now, let's look at the DIY method, which costs you nothing. So you're not out of pocket anything, right? Let's just say that in order for you to get fully booked at month 12, you're at $6,000 at month 12. Well, for example's sake, I'm going to say that starting at month 1, you're adding $500 of revenue each month, so that by the end of a year, at the end of 12 months, you're at that $6,000. So quick math, month 1 is $500, month 2 is $1,000, month 3 is $1,500, month 4 is $2,000, and so on. So the total sales for the DIY method that I just gave is actually $39,000 a year. So even if we take away the cost of the investment from your overall sales for the year with the coaching method, your $66,000 a year, let's take away the $3,000 that it cost you to invest in coaching to get it done faster, easier, and with less stress, you're looking at a sales of $63,000 as opposed to the DIY method, which was $39,000. So to get something done better, faster, and easier, yes, you invested money up front, but you actually made an additional $24,000 because you did the investment. So we can look at this as far as a business perspective of looking at the long term of what it's going to cost you. A lot of people price their time or price their services by time because they think it makes it easier on everybody around. You need a 60-minute fill? No, you need a 75-minute fill, and I'm just going to charge you accordingly. Now, here's the thing is that if you're saving a client time, that has value to it. But when you're stuck charging by time, you struggle to be able to be faster, right? You can be faster. Your skills and abilities over time will allow you to be faster, but your client is married to the time. She is paying for the time. And it becomes a weird conversation to be like, well, we ended early today. and I know we ended early last time, but I'm getting better and you still owe me the same price. It gets really kind of hard with a client to justify you're paying the same price, but what you paid for, you're not getting what you paid for, which is the 75-minute fill. So when we look at the business overall, we're actually impairing our ability to earn more by either having a lower time service at the same price point, or being able to get more clients in a day because our services aren't taking as long. So what do you do, right? What do you do if it's not charging by time? What's the alternative, Tara? Great question. You should charge by the result, not the time. Even when you're brand new, the result is a client comes in for a fill, they want to walk out looking like they've had a fill, like they're back to a full set. That's what you're charging for, is the result for the client. Doesn't matter how long it takes. Yes, your services will be set at a standard time for scheduling purposes. So that fill may still take 75 minutes, but it's the language and the result that the client is paying for, not the time that the client is paying for. So you can still have a 75-minute fill service, but you can name the service of what the result is. Like a 2 to 3 week fill is XYZ price, and on your end, you know it's a 75-minute appointment. The client, it can be called, what do they call that? Like a regular fill versus an extended fill. There's a bunch of different naming suggestions that you can use, but you're naming it something, not the time. This is where we get just a small little tweak can make a big difference in you being able to get better and grow your business without being held back by time. So for me, I charged by what the appointment was. I had a 2 to 3 week fill and a 4 to 5 week fill. The 2 to 3 week fill, let's just say for classic, was 60 minutes, and for me it was $75. And they had until 3 weeks exactly from the date of their appointment to come in for a fill and get that price. If they came in at 3 weeks and 1 day, they were charged the 4 to 5 week price. Why 3 weeks and 1 day? Well, that 1 day is actually the start of their 4th week. So if you look at a calendar, look at today, count 1, 2, 3 days or 3 weeks from this day, that would be the end of the 2 to 3 week fill price for my clients. That way there was a clear cutoff. They always came within 1 or 2 days prior to their 3 week appointment so that they wouldn't risk paying an extra $20. Because my 4 to 5 week fills were $20 more in price, but 15 minutes more in time. So a 2 to 3 week classic fill was 60 minutes, $75, and a 4 to 5 week fill was 75 minutes for $90. So that's how my price point worked. So, but the clients were paying for a 2 to 3 week fill, meaning they came in within 2 to 3 weeks of their last appointment, and we filled for 60 minutes, and whatever got done in 60 minutes was what was done. And that was where I got to a point where I could get a client done, no problem, in 2 to 3 weeks at 60 minutes. But I wasn't charging the client for 60 minutes because there would be weeks that clients would get really great retention. And so I wouldn't have much to do. I could get them done in 45 minutes. They're still paying for the 2 to 3 week fill because it's still been 2 to 3 weeks since their last appointment. That we're not negotiating on. If I was charging 60 minutes for a 2 to 3 week fill and that was what the client was expecting, and I did 45 minutes, we got a bit of an issue, right? We got a bit of a client going, I didn't get what I paid for. So there's a big difference between naming your service by time. Oh, do you want a 60-minute fill? Do you want a 75-minute fill? Versus having a name that is not timed on the service. 2 to 3 week fill, regular fill versus an extended fill, anything like that. So again, we want to make sure that over time, you're able to improve at your skill set, get better at your application, get your clients amazing results, but without being penalized by your income because you're solely tied to the time of the service as opposed to the result, which is ultimately what a client is paying for. They want the solution to their problem. They want the result that you can give them, not the time that it takes. That is also accounting for the investment that you're putting into your business as far as your continuing education and getting better at your skill set. You don't have to post these things on social media like, you're not paying me for the minutes, you're paying me for the years it took me to get to the minutes, right? That's not great marketing when you post that type of stuff. It comes with an ego and an attitude that's just not attractive to clients. But in essence, it's the theory of it is correct that yes, you have invested a lot of time, years, minutes, practice, education, all of that. And that's what the client is technically paying for. But ultimately, the client's paying for the result. They don't care how you got there to get them the result. They want the result. And that's the value that you can be charging, not the time that it took you to get there, not the time that it takes to get to the result. You want the result is what you're charging for. I hope that makes sense. So let me know on social media. You can DM me, you can email me. Let me know, did this change your perspective on charging by time? Or are you still locked in on time? It's easiest for everyone. Clients know what they're getting. I'm not worried about getting faster, quicker, better, whatever. Is it making sense to you, or am I just kind of completely alone in my whole rant and spiel here? Let me know, guys. All right, guys, until next time, have a good one.